Good morning, class. John Paul Brandt here to talk about the American Revolution and the fact that both sides, the Patriots and the Loyalists, claimed that God was on their side. And the first source I found was by Joe Barron's, A God of Order and Not Confusion, The American Loyalists and Divine Providence, 1774 to 1783. And he claims that the American Revolution was fought in a religious framework, that being the Jeremiad tradition, a long literary work lamenting the morals of society, which much invective on each side, and in foretelling a prophecy of doom. Barron's talks about the royalists saying that the rebel sin of rebellion was bringing down the vengeance of heaven on a happy people. And another loyalist, Charles Inglis, in The Duty of Honoring the King, 1780, wrote that the rebellion is a special providential infliction in which the guilty patriots incensed heaven. Barron's points out that patriots claimed Jehovah was on their side, claiming that the new Israel was under attack by a tyrant king and a dictatorial parliament. The second source I found was by David Mann, A Clash Between Patriots and Loyalists. It talks about 1777, General John Burgoyne, after capturing Fort Ticonderoga in Canada, came down to Vermont and New Hampshire, trying to cut New England off from the rest of the rebel strongholds. And he raised the Loyalist militia to augment his Queen's Loyal Rangers, and they were stopped at the Wallamsack River by General John Stark, where much fighting ensued. He goes on to describe how Colonel Peters, a colleague in the fight with General Burgoyne, a Yale graduate, elected to the First Continental Congress, was beaten on the way to the Congress in 1774 by mobs. And when he got to the Congress, he discovered that the majority of the delegates were against independence from England. He refused to take his oath of secrecy. Back to Radford, Vermont, he was beaten again by General Trumbull's Liberty Boys. In Bradford, he was mobbed. His house was ransacked. His own father called him a traitor for supporting the king. Such was the hatred and the fratricidal conflict in the American Revolution. And thirdly, interesting enough, I found an article by Bill Offut, Patriots, Loyalists, and the Revolution in New York City, 1775, 1776. And lo and behold, it turns out to be a role-playing game, a game called Patriots, Loyalists, and Revolution in New York City. The game begins in April 1775 and ends in July 1776. And the game book states that no one knows there will be a war, and no one knows there will be a Declaration of Independence. Offut says that the professor stands in the back of the room, acting as the game master, as the students act as loyalists, patriots, and moderates, attend the mock Continental Congress. He says that he developed a 13-week course with 3 games after attending several conferences. And with the 3 contexts for the American Revolution being social discontent, slavery, women's rights, class hierarchy, and economic crisis, and political ideologies. And for this course, he decided to use primary sources, speeches and documents from John Locke's Second Treatise on Government, Tom Paine's Common Sense, and Samuel Johnson's Taxation, No Tyranny. So there you have it, a short talk about the American Revolution and the fact that both sides claim that God was on their side. Thank you.